Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but I think the major thing I would have to say, this is I think across everyone, is enjoy the music, play for the love of the music. I have literally, I want to say, well, literally around, it feels like 95% of people that have heard me play guitar, like they may ask me afterwards, like, oh, you know how to play? I want to learn how to play. How do I learn how to play? Can you teach me? And I'm like, it's just time. Just if you like music, just pick up a guitar and play. Just do it. And then that 95%, I feel like 75% say, well, I should probably go get lessons first. And I'm like, no, do not do that. Go love music, play on your own, test it out, love it, then go get training. But that's my suggestion. What do you think?
Well, like I think everyone, most guitar players, I think would have like beginning guitar players would be better off if they just could kind of figure out what they want to do at the beginning. And I think a lot of good teachers will ask them, what do you want from this? Like, what do you want as a guitar player? And not like, I'm not talking about like star aspirations where they want to be a celebrity playing guitar, but just like, what is it you actually want to play? Is there a particular song you want to play? Are you doing this because there's a song you want to play? Like people just want to play guitar because they want to play this one song. Which is fine. That's a completely legitimate goal. But as long as you know that goal, and that can help you, once you know that goal, getting there becomes a very clear route. A lot of times people just like, I want to, when you're sort of vague, you're just like, I just want to be able to do this thing. That's fine too, but like if you give yourself goals, even if you just have to invent it, like I want to play House of the Rising Sun, which is one of the first songs most people learn because it's pretty easy and it's a pattern and open chords. Just make up that goal for yourself. Get there, whether you're doing it by yourself or with a teacher or with a friend and learning together somehow. Just I think what helped me in my journey in this regard, and the fact that I skipped over playing covers and went right to trying to write my own music, is that I had already had, a decade of university experience. I have a composition degree. I have years of playing guitar with ensembles in a classical world, in classical style. I've played in orchestras, I've done in choirs, and I had a breadth of musical experience going into it. So I kind of skipping that step made some sense because I already had a foundation to build on. For a lot of people, learning those covers is that foundation they're building on.
Yep.
Because you're saying you're writing songs without structure, but you're giving even if you don't know what I would call the structure of a song, I assign things letters and give it a name like Rondo. Even if you don't know those names, you're still doing a similar thing just by being like, hey, I repeat this riff 8 times, then we do the second riff, and then you're still giving that song structure. And the reason you know that structure is because you played a bunch of those old songs back in the day that you'd covered, and you just didn't go through the pain in the ass and the expensive learning an expensive education to get there. And my education was pretty cheap. I went to state school, but like it was still like it's still thousands of dollars just to be like, oh yeah, I know how that song goes, or I know the structure of that song because I can listen to it because someone sat there for 4 years teaching me how to listen to music. And which, by the way, I love a musical education, and if you want it, you should do it. But like, I'm not trying to downplay the important, the value of a musical education. But I think for me, it definitely was. That foundation of that allowed me to sort of skip an important step that I'm now going back and trying to rectify, just so I have this ability to like Trevor, who plays my bass player and the engineer. He plays guitar in cover bands, and he's fantastic, and he probably knows 200 or 300 popular songs from the last 40 years of popular music, because I know him because my wife sings Leah sings in bands all over San Diego when we were allowed to play, and he plays guitar with her in various bands. And that ability is to go into a place and be like, yeah, I know that song, I can play. Like that, I miss that. I wish I could have that. And it'll never be quite the same as maybe with Rattlers, but you can still at least go and play and have fun playing songs that I just frankly, at times I'm like, I just don't know that song. Like I wish I could play it. So I've been trying, and lately I would say over the last few months it's sort of slowed down as I've been focusing on other things. But excuse me. Well, yeah.
Do you?
Pardon.
So I feel
But
like my.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Oh,
I was gonna say, like, I just missed that thing. That's all. I think you can.
I feel like my musical ability is. If I could grade myself, like say someone that's never picked up an instrument and has no desire to pick up an instrument, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give them a 0. And then it sounds like, I'm guessing, I'm just gonna guess, like your musical ability, I'll just assign you like a 8, 9, or 10. Where I would rate myself is like a 4. Even though I could pick up a guitar, I could play quite a few riffs, but it's usually my own music. If I like some songs, I'll go online, find the tablature, follow it, whatnot. What I'm getting at is, I feel like I don't know, my brain is like, I don't know if I can't excel to another level. Now, maybe I'm asking you this question is, have you worked with enough people where you feel that is actually, is that someone's brain that keeps them from getting there, or is it just their time? Now, I'm going to connect it with like programming. So when I work with other programmers, I'm able to there's conceptual things in programming when you got to design these data sets connected with the code, and the code, you have to realize, well, in that code, you're going to talk to the database and have this data set. In that data set, you need to break up those one pieces of data into 2. Like if you have an order with order items, you have to separate that and program that, and you have to prepare the code in the database for all that. There's certain people, when they say they're a programmer, or even someone that is an amateur, someone that's starting out as programming, and I'm teaching them. After about 3 to 6 months, I feel like if they still haven't grasped it, it's time for them to move on. And I think it's just certain brains could pick it up. Do you think music is like that? And I mean,
I don't think that. Well, sorry. Do you want to add more to the question?
I don't know in programming if they would have spent a year instead of 6 months, would they pick it up? I don't know. So, anyways, yeah, that's kind of the.
Okay, I think that there are people with a certain natural gift. There are people who are just very naturally musical, whose ceiling is sort of imperceivable. Like they can just go as far as they ever want to go in terms of their technical abilities as musicians. I don't think there's anyone who can't be a musician. And I don't think there's anyone who can't be a good musician. I think for the most part, if you're willing to put time and energy into it, you'll get back the amount of time and energy you put into it. And when that's true for everyone, no matter their talent level, right? Like,
my only rebuttal, I think, to that is that I loved the guitar when I was between the age of 12 to 18. I guess that's only 6 years, but that was a crucial 6 years of a teenage life.
Right.
At points during that 6 years, probably about around 4 years inside that 6 years, I mean, I was picking up that guitar every day, hours on every day. Like, it was immense. And then I would see my other friends. I don't know if they pick. I knew one of them didn't. He didn't pick up his guitar that much as I did, but he fucking excelled. And then I'm like left.
Okay. Yeah, there's people who just don't need as much work. There are definitely. Like, I'm not going to tell you that there are people who just have a sort of natural aptitude for it. I think the caveat here is defining where, I think it's really easy to always look at others and say, I want to be that, or why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? I think with musicianship, there is a kind of a minimal technical ability that you want to be able to get to play, and it's not a high bar. If you go listen to some old late 70s, early 80s punk bands, that bar doesn't have to be very high in terms of technical ability.
I think even a lot of music nowadays, they still
you just pound 3 chords, and if you can do it with some passion and you can do it like you care about something, you can do a lot. just on very limited amount of resources. I think that for some people, I think managing expectations is a big part of the thing. Like I am, my Twitter handle is the okayest guitarist because I am not like a virtuoso guitar player. Trevor is who plays bass in my band is a better guitar player than I am, and I'm not ashamed. I know